Greetings, Inquisitors! Glad you found this holocron. We're joined by a special guest, Solo Base 15. If you want to know something about Resistance, this is the guy you talk to. He's helped other collaborators put up videos about how to mod Resistance, how to use them, and is famous for killing a lot of different stuff with his Resistance team. So I figured I'd invite him on the channel, starting on my Galactic Legend Rey build here. And I figured maybe he could coach me, educate me a little bit on how to get this done. Welcome to the channel.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm glad to help. Glad to be here. Always enjoy talking about this team. It's probably one of my favorites of the game.
Yeah, you're very passionate about it, and I've heard you, like seeing you say in chat and stuff, you could beat just about anything with it. So, just to start out the video, where can people find you?
The biggest place is on Twitch. It's just my name there, SoloBase15. I do I stream on God, the schedule is all messed up because of GAC, but Wednesday and Sunday nights I'm streaming on that page. On Monday and Friday nights I pair up with Zareth and we're streaming on the Gambit podcast Twitch page.
All right, excellent. All right, so talk to me a little bit about this Resistance team. I started out, I figured Jedi Training Rey was the practical place to start. I had BB-8 already built up a little bit, and then the veteran smuggler Han, of course, from the SLKR journey. Then I did have veteran smuggler Chewie built up a little bit, so I've just got the beginnings of a team here. But I'm curious, like how do you play Jedi Training Rey?
Okay, so there's a couple different levels. Obviously, you're not taking out Darth Revan without the hero bros, but with the team you have on the screen here, there's a lot you can do. So the first thing to talk about is Jedi Training Rey's leadership. She's kind of what makes the world go round, essentially. Because what she's doing, and you have it pulled up here, it's so she's giving her full team 30% crit chance and 30% crit damage. And the crit chance is really the only stat that matters here. Because when you look at the bottom there, it's when resistance allies users they use the special ability. It relies on the character being exposed because the exposed enemies lose 5% turn meter. So the question is, how do you get that exposed? You get that exposed by critting the other team. So every crit has a 70% chance to land and expose. And that's it right there. Yeah. So the goal of this team is get everybody exposed, and then you take a million turns and they take no turns. Like that is the goal of this team. And that's easier to do when you have the bros. When you have, the team that you have without them built up yet, it's more of, rather than just focus on one person and kill, it's kind of spread a couple hits out at the start to get everybody exposed. Or if you have a lot of crit chance on your R2 and he does the AoE and gets the expose, then you can start to, go to town.
Okay, so I have R2 just, gear 10. He's got the Zeta on him, but haven't put a whole lot of effort into him yet. But he's a key part of the team then, huh?
He is. So, we're talking a little bit before we started this video of there's this holy trinity of resistance, and it's JTR, R2, and BB-8. Because what BB-8's the engine of the team, if you will. Because every time BB-8 does the wiggle, BB-8's gaining turn meter, and JTR is gaining turn meter. And that's under Jedi Training Rey's unique. These two characters were built for each other. That it's Han and Chewie and Big and Wedge and Chirrut and Baze and JTR and BB-8. They're best friends. And JTR's unique gives her 8% turn meter whenever another ally gives secret intel. BB-8 is the one that's giving the secret intel. So BB-8 does a wiggle, steals 5% turn meter from whoever's exposed on the other team, and meanwhile JTR is gaining 8% turn meter in this. So it's this and I can do math. 13% turn meter swing between the other enemy losing turn meter and JTR gaining the turn meter. So, and I know your channel focuses a lot on the lower level people, or that are building their accounts in the game. So here's the nice thing about this team: your G10 R2. Obviously, I'm going to say get him higher because R2 is a great character, but he's not going to hurt you. This team punches up a lot. So you can use a couple lower level non-damage dealing characters and get the same result as if that R2 was, G12 or Relic 3, Relic 4. I just stumbled there because I was about to say R2 or R3, and it's like, oh, wait a minute. You can't do that with R2. I've seen a lot of people use G11 BB8, G11 R2, and do everything that you can because the damage is coming from the exposes as well. You expose the entire other team, they're doing 20% max health damage when you pop the expose. So you don't even need a quote unquote damage dealer on this team because the exposes are doing all the work for you.
Okay, yeah, so you're not really even focusing one character then, you're just focusing on not letting the opposing team get any turns. That's really kind of the gimmick here.
It's not quite like Imperial Troopers. If the other team gets a turn, you die, right?
Right,
It's not
yeah.
like Imperial Troopers where it's you either kill them all or not. It's when you get to building up the Resistance Hero Bros, that's when the other team doesn't take a turn because there's a lot in their kits to swap team turn meter, gain turn meter, kill on one shot basically. When you have early on with like the team that you have, it's going to be more about you have Vet Han and Vet Chewie to drop ability blocks, drop stuns. So the other team is getting a turn, but they're using a basic on you as opposed to whatever special they were going to use.
Yeah. Well, let's not talk about what the team I've got right now because, Resistance Hero, Finn and Poe, coming soon, TM.
They are what makes this team go from like a strong B plus team to, I mean, just in that top tier under Galactic Legends. And good news, these guys aren't changing when CG does the mass mechanic change not too far away.
So you're saying
This
you're saying with these Resistance, bro, then this is a team that can challenge Darth Revan?
I've beat Darth Revan multiple times. This team, yeah,
With
yeah,
with Malik or without Malik?
with because
Yikes.
JTR has the healing immunity, so Malik might drain somebody, but he's not going to gain any health back. And Resistance Hero Finn has a ton of healing built into his kit. So Malik will drain somebody, Finn will throw the grenade of healing, and people have protection back. And so Malik will drain again, and Resistance Hero Finn will throw the grenade again, and Malik struggles to kill him. Now, I will say, don't count on this team being your number one Darth Revan killer. It's more of oh god, I just opened up the back zone in GAC. I don't have anything to kill Darth Revan. Oh look, I have this team. Because things, if something goes bad, it goes bad fast. It's actually like Imperial Troopers against Darth Revan. If something goes bad, the team just kind of melts away.
Yeah, we've used the Imperial Troopers to amazing success. I've really
Yeah,
I've done some pretty clever things with those troopers. So
yeah.
if this team is like troopers, we're looking forward to some fun stuff.
Yes, it's this team is a lot like that, where you can do a lot of things that people don't expect. Um, it's just these kits are much more complicated than troopers. Troopers is basically, you know, point at somebody and say go, and you take them out. There's a lot of moving parts in this resistance team, and I think it's why this team isn't quite as popular as other teams because there's just so much to kind of consider. And when this team came out, kits were a lot simpler, so nobody wanted to read a kit and figure out what they're doing when, you have Imperial troopers that's okay, I modded them the right way according to the video that told me how to mod them, and now I'm gonna just go. These guys actually take the opening moves are the same every time. Then you just kind of have to see where the exposes land and go from there.
Okay. So what do these resistance heroes have that perpetuates the exposed train? Just
Uh,
skills that do exposes, or
well, it's part of it is going to be that they're critting. If
oh,
you
okay.
want, if you want to swap to Finn real quick, he's Resistance Hero Poe is amazing and he does a lot, but Finn is Resistance Hero Finn is the one that his abilities. This is where we're doing a lot, and it's um. So you have the unique there, right? And it's 100% counter chance. So if the other team gets the turn, they're going to counter. And I've watched so many characters be countered to death because somebody will do an AOE. The entire Resistance Hero team counters. They're doing the exposed damage. So you have 5 characters doing damage and then putting exposes on the other character, and each expose doing 20% max health damage. Well, if you have 5 exposes, that's 100% max health damage, and they get wiped off the board. Now, the bigger thing, though, in that ability is the Zeta, which you haven't applied yet, but it's resistance here. A big part of these kits is the inspired mechanic, and so
Mm-hmm.
when Finn is inspired, look at they have the recover of 40% health and protection and gaining 40% turn meter. And so when you're talking about GAC and you want to max banners and all that stuff, 40% health and protection regen and a bunch of turn meter is what is, it's getting your team to take more turns and heal up. And it's one of the things that gets you 60 banners in a GAC.
Okay.
Um,
So prevented from taking my turn means that I'm stunned, or
eh,
uh, I mean, if I'm ability blocked, I still get to use an ability, right?
Yeah, it's something like you're stunned, or say when you're taking this against the Darth Revan team,
Oh, you're
uh,
feared.
and you're feared, and you have only Malik left, and so you attack Malik, you crit him, you get feared, and now this unique kicks in,
Okay, so this is a Malik destroying Zeta then. Yeah,
and
interesting.
it definitely helps. So now you have Rallying Call up, which is another just amazing ability. This ability is his AoE, right? But it's not just an AoE, it's a mass assist. Um, so he throws the grenade. Attackers are going to assist. The tank is going to taunt and gain crit hit immunity. So this is what gives JTR a taunt. And the JTR Zeta, where whenever she dodges, she gains back health and protection, and she gains the foresight when she takes a turn. This is what protects the rest of your team, because when they do get a turn, you want them aiming at JTR, who has the evasion mastery and the foresight and is just pain to take down. Um, so that Finn mass assist is huge. You use this at the start of the fight to take somebody out. You use it as your last move of the fight, and it restores health and protection, and you get going. Um, Now, strength of will, this ability that you're leveling up now, this is what gives one of the things that gives Finn inspired. Most importantly, and this is where he works so well with Poe, is uh, Resistance Hero Poe, not OG Poe. You use this ability, you swap turn meter with Poe, then Poe uses an ability to inspire another team member, and that ability also stuns somebody, and Finn gets it's a swap of turn meter. So Finn is going to get, 80, 90, 95% turn meter back. So Finn does this ability to swap with Poe, then he immediately uses the rallying call that we just talked about. So he's basically getting 2 turns before somebody else gets a turn, which is, I mean, again, this is kind of a control team where you're just taking a ton of turns when the other team isn't.
Okay, and so then, really, we want both Resistance Hero Finn and Resistance Hero Poe to be pretty darn fast.
Yeah. So when you're modding, so the way I have my turn meter set up is my speed list, I guess you could say. BB-8, there's nothing you can do if you have BB-8 and R2 in the team. BB-8 will go first because he has a unique that gives him 8% turn meter for every droid in the team.
Yep.
So BB-8's going to go first on your team and most likely in the match. BB-8 gives the turn meter to R2 as well. So R2 is generally going to go second as well.
Okay.
Then BB-8, because of secret intel and the unique that we talked about on JTR doesn't have to be super fast. If you have her at like 280, she's going to go third. So, and you have her right around there, I believe. Yeah, you have her in that perfect zone of 283. When she's going to go, it's going to go BB-8, R2, JTR, and then Resistance Hero Finn. So when you're using the bros on this team, Resistance Hero Finn doesn't have to be as fast as, say, if you want to use the bros on a different team and take them off the JTR team, which don't do that, but if you did, Resistance Hero Finn can sit at 315-ish, which is fast. I mean, it's still fast, but some people get them up to like 340, and you don't need to do that anymore. That people did that to counter Vader's. Obviously, with the changes that are happening, you don't have to worry about that anymore. So you want Finn at 315. In a perfect world, you would put Poe at 314. Realistically, you don't need to do that. If you put Poe at 280, 285, Finn is going to take the next turn anyway. When you swap the turn meter. So talk about ideal modding, Poe is 1 speed slower. Talk about realistic modding that most people can do. They don't have to be right next to each other. You want you don't want Poe at 240 or something while Finn's at 315, but you don't need a God mod set on Resistance Hero Poe in this team.
Okay, good to know. Well, we could probably get him close. Now I've got my BB-8 at 339 right now, which is it's pretty fast.
It's slow him down.
Slow him down?
Yeah, because of the turn meter, right? If you are using BB-8 and R2 in the team, and you have a 315 BB-8, his effective speed is 375.
Right.
So there's not, other than Galactic Legends, there's not going to be many characters you face faster than that. So if you get BB-8 at 315, you're gonna outspeed almost every character except for super speed Moff Gideons, and frankly, you don't need to worry too much about that because most people aren't going to have a 376 Moff Gideon.
Yeah, my Moff Gideon's 366, so in the trooper team he's acting at 386.
Right.
So that's kind of like I felt like I had to get to 390 or so on BB-8's acting speed, because if the troopers go first, that's how I beat the JTR teams. If I see 144,000 galactic power JTR team, I just bring in the troopers and sneeze and she's gone. It's embarrassing.
Sure. But so the other thing we're not going to talk about, or we are going to talk about, is this team, JTR shouldn't go on defense. There's a lot of ways to counter this JTR team on defense.
Okay.
It's a 60 banner offense team. It's a 60 banner defense team because, like you said,
for your opponent.
Right. You bring in troopers and it kills them. You bring in Padme and it's not, it's not 60 banners because Padme doesn't have the protection regen, but it's a very easy win with Padme as well.
Okay.
Or, so take this team and kill everything for 60 banners, play efficiently with it, and don't put it on defense because you're giving 60 banners.
Okay. So I opened up a back wall on a recent
Yep.
Grand Arena,
Yeah.
and there had been some pretty good bait teams up front that used up a
Sure.
couple of my good teams. I used my nest because my nest is like a free win. And
Right.
then I revealed the back wall, and the back wall was a Geo team with 2 relics,
Yep.
a Grievous team with all 5 relics,
Yeah.
and a Padme team.
Yep.
Now I figured she didn't have a chance against the Padme team, and everybody's like, "Well, there's no use for your Rey team. Like you can't even use her back here. She can't beat Geo. She can't beat Grievous." And I'm like, like the chat's telling me like all the stuff that JTR can't do. So what is it that she can do? What are the matchups you see? And you just start drooling a little bit, going, "Man, I know this is a free win."
Well, ironically, JTR destroys Geos, but it's with
With the bros.
Finn and Poe.
Okay.
Yeah. So they weren't wrong in what you had at the time. With the bros, it's a 60 banner win against R7 Geos.
Nice. Okay.
I did it my last 3 matches actually. Because the Geos never get a turn. They just don't take a turn. JTR hand waves the brute. He's dazed, and then you just you healing immunity brute alpha, which calls the assist, which exposes him, and then Finn and Poe are swapping turns. Then you mass assist. The next thing you know, brute alpha is gone, and the Geos without brute alpha are nothing. So your JTR team will destroy them. Padme, if Jedi Knight Anakin is below 70k health, she will take out Padme teams.
Interesting.
That takes practice. It's not the usual opening move because you can't trigger GK's taunt. So it's basically you're attacking GK the entire time to not trigger his taunt, and then when Finn has the grenade, you throw the grenade at Jedi Knight Anakin. And one of the things we didn't talk about in Poe's kit is whenever an inspired ally deals damage to an enemy, they also deal an additional 10% max health under his unique. So you're doing a mass assist, and you're doing 50% max health damage against Jedi Knight Anakin, and he just disappears. Now, that's for the offense modded Jedi Knight Anakin. Some people, including me, have Anakin modded for over 80k health because they want to take advantage of the bonus protection. This team isn't strong enough to clear that, but I'd say 50% of the Padmes you find with the bros you can take out Jedi Knight Anakin. The second Jedi Knight Anakin's out of the team, it's a pain because you have to do the same thing with Padme where it's, attack GK, attack GK, attack GK. Okay, I have the grenade up, erase Padme. But without Jedi Knight Anakin, I mean, the threat on the team goes away, essentially.
And the grenade, you mean the mass assist, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I call it the grenade of healing, but yeah. It's the what's the ability? The rallying call is the actual ability name.
Yeah. We talked about that.
Yep.
Interesting. So the attacks out of turn give some protection up, but then you just got enough damage, you punch through it.
That's when you're dealing 10% max health damage. That's true damage and ignores defense. It adds up. Yeah. Now, some of the more traditional teams that it beats are like all the Bosk and Django teams that go on defense because you're going to outspeed, even with a Django lead, you're going to outspeed almost any Bosk in the game. So, you hand wave Bosk and then you just take out Django or Boba. And they just melt. First order, as long as the team doesn't have Hux. If the team has Hux, don't take JTR because Hux blocks the turn meter. Um, but if the team doesn't have Hux, the healing immunity kills the KRU and the OG Kylo because they're not taking advantage of the KRU lead, and um, it's a 60 banner win against them. It's long because OG Kylo is unique that is he's immune to um, the exposed damage, and his defense stacks every time you hit him. So it takes it's a 2.5 minute fight, but you're doing it for 60 banners.
Okay.
Um, Nest on defense, and this is where you change up the team a little bit because OG Finn there has his unique ability when you're using his special. Um, he's stacking damage. Uh, Not the lead, the special, yeah, the takedown. So he stacks damage as you build it up. And so when you face Nest, and this is where I used to use resistance before the bros came out. When you're facing Nest, you just keep Nest dazed and stunned with R2, BB8, and JTR, and you just keep using that special. And eventually you start hitting Nest for like 300k, 400k as the damage stacks up, and I mean, Nest just disappears off the field.
Yeah, so when you're ready, then you just let her take a turn and kill her.
Exactly. Yeah.
Nice. Well, we got Finn decently fast. How fast do it? Oh, 268. Never mind. That's
Well,
not that
that's
good.
fine though. That's actually really good for him because remember he's going to be gaining turn meter under the JTR lead, and the other team's going to be losing turn meter. So 269, I mean, is realistically that's like he's over 300 when you factor in all the lead bonuses and turn meter manipulations.
Okay. All right, so how about a CLS team? What does this do against Commander Luke?
Oh, the CLS is a monster. The CLS with 3PO is gonna beat this team. You need good RNG of CLS to attack JTR, or I should say Han to attack JTR at the start to actually beat CLS. So it's not something I would tell you to count on. Like an emergency, I have nothing left type situation, it can easily fill or not easily, it can fill in, but it's not something you know to bet your entire round on. Now, if they don't have 3PO, resistance will roll over CLS. That used to be my counter back in the day until 2PO and 3PO got added to the team, and you're just like, oh, never mind.
That's too much.
Yep. It's the Chewie and 2PO assisting, and they're doing the exposed damage as well. It's just it adds up too fast.
Yeah, and how do we feel about Night Sisters?
Night Sisters, JTR with the bros will destroy Night Sisters
Okay, so
because there's so much healing in that Resistance Hero Finn kit that it rolls over Night Sisters. You survive their initial like application of plague, and then once you get rid of plague the first time, Night Sisters melt because everybody has DACA modded for health, which she should be. But the exposes on DACA are doing huge, like massive hits of like 30k or 25k on DACA for every expose, depending on how she's modded. And so she just, I mean, she disappears off the field.
interesting. All right, and if they stun you, then you still get the health and protection and turn meter from the passive that we
Right,
looked at.
right. They stun you, and you get rid of plague in the process.
All
So
right, so talk to me a little bit about the actual Galactic Legend Rey. Once you get her, have you played with GL Rey?
she she was my first GL,
Okay.
and she holds a special place in my heart as the first GL. Um, Rey is just a monster to take down, and now that Vader is gone, I mean, I hate to say that Rey belongs on defense because I hate using good teams on defense. Um, but man, she is just so difficult to take down. And now the changes that are coming up with Sith Eternal Emperor, um, he now gains turn meter whenever somebody uh,
As a permanent
it
buff.
has the buff, and so Rey gains mastery. Like the way that she gains mastery is when somebody on the opposing team gains turn meter. So every time Sith Eternal is gaining mastery, Rey is gaining offense. Um, and so, I mean, they quote unquote buffed Sith Eternal at the same time buffing Rey against Sith Eternal. 'Cause it used to be you could two-man a Rey team. You could Sith Eternal Watt Rey as long as you had enough health on Sith Eternal. Now Rey just got that much stronger. In in territory battles, though, and people, I say this, and people, give me weird looks, but you put Rey as not the leader, you use a JTR lead with Rey, and you take R2 out of the team, and it's JTR, BB-8, Rey, and the Resistance Hero Bros. And I have never not gotten a 4 for 4 on a wave. And because they're doing exposed damage, the the territory battle waves last like 5 minutes total, as opposed to, oh my god, I have to do light side territory battle again. This is going to take me like 20 minutes.
Yeah, because the
And
exposes do percent, and that's it.
right, right,
Yeah.
exactly. And they have such high health pools. It's like every territory battle wave. It's you survive the first wave because that first wave is awful. Um, and then Rey. So what Rey does is when she uses Lifeblood, she gives allies 25% of her max health. So if Rey is modded for health, she's giving bonus protection at 25% of, I have her at like 240. So she's giving out 60k bonus protection every time she uses Lifeblood. You use it 3 times, and your team has 180k bonus protection, not including their own protection and their own health. And so once you get out of that first wave, nobody can die because she just keeps applying bonus protection, bonus protection, bonus protection, and then she drops below 60% health and she uses her whirlwind and she makes the droideka go away.
Nice.
Like make that mean droideka go away, and that's what she does. So Galactic Legend Rey, the one thing I see a lot of people doing is putting Resistance Hero Bros with Rey, and I get it, right? She's Resistance, they're Resistance. She does work better with the Inspired mechanic because everybody works better with the Inspired mechanic, but you don't need to do that to make Rey good. Save your JTR team to get 60 banners on everything and be the best that it can be. Then Galactic Legend Rey, you stick her with, Haldo as a tank because there's crit avoidance in there. You give her a couple other tanks, and she's going to be just as strong as if she had like the full A team, if you will. Um,
Have
but
you
you can
messed?
easily.
Yeah.
What's that?
Have you messed around at all with putting Cat in that team?
I have. So Cat is. I have Jedi Master Kenobi, and so for me, those two are just paired side by side. If I didn't have Kenobi, Cat would live with Rey.
Oh, okay.
Like that's. I mean, she would. If I. She would just live there because you can have a 240k health Rey, and because of Cat's unique granting the 50% offense, she's also going to have like 13 to 14k offense based on that unique. So you're getting the best of both worlds because the biggest argument with Galactic Legend Rey is, do you mod for offense or do you mod for health?
Right.
There's really no in between. With Cat, you get to do both.
Have you ever messed around trying to get a lot of tenacity on Rey just to stop some of the debuff based counters like Vader and other things that rely on debuffing the Rey?
So you can. You're not going to have to in the next 5v5 when these changes come in because Vader's not going to do as much. But when you do that, when you stop one counter, you make it easier for every other counter, right? So you might stop Vader, but there's the Luke Nukem team of, load a bunch of buffs onto gas and just destroy Rey. when she's only 160k health because you've built her for tenacity. Like you're opening yourself up to a counter, trying to stop a counter.
Okay.
Now, I will say the best Rey defense team is Rey Scoundrels with the Beskar team. Uh, on my account, I got a hold with a back wall Rey 7 times with it was Rey, Beskar, IG, Queel, and Vandor. And I'll be honest with you, my Scoundrels weren't modded that well because they didn't need to be. But under Rey and with and the key is Vandor is unique there. Everybody thinks that they can take Jedi Master Luke against that team. Nobody is successful. It's yeah, I mean it can work, but I got 7 straight times my Rey on the back wall got a hold against Jedi Master Luke.
So, for anybody who doesn't know, when a light side scoundrel ally is defeated, if he's prepared, he just revives that ally, and then he's
Yeah.
no longer prepared. But anytime somebody else gets hit, then he gets where is it? Read this skill. If any ally took damage from attack, he recovers protection, and when he recovers protection to his maximum, he becomes prepared. So if they're not attacking him, then every time they attack somebody else, he's just is prepared again, pretty much.
Right. That's you have to kill him first.
Yep.
And but IG-11 is going to be taunting and Beskar is going to be using his whistling birds or more importantly in that team what happens a lot is Beskar will use whistling birds the first turn. They'll be on cooldown and he will give damage immunity to whoever has the lowest health. And so you try and kill Vandor, and it's a Rey lead, so you have to drop him below 50%. He gains damage immunity, and drop him below 50% health again, and Beskar gives him damage immunity, so you just can't kill him. Like you just can't kill people on this team.
Yikes.
It's a fun team.
All right, and that saves all of the Resistance Bros and Jedi Training Rey and all that stuff for an offensive team that you like to win with.
Right, exactly. It's the perfect marriage, if you will.
All right, so moral of the story: we're going to use Galactic Legend Rey with maybe a Scoundrel team or another team to take advantage of Rey. We're going to make Jedi Training Rey team out of BB-8, R2, and the 2 Resistance heroes.
Yeah.
What do we do then with the rest of these trash-tastic Resistance?
So I've had a lot of success with OG Finn, OG Poe, Scav Rey, Haldo +1, and whoever the +1 is, it doesn't matter. But so you make Poe, you give his speed like 285 or so. He's naturally fast. You make Scav Rey fast. Again, she's naturally fast. And it's not a team that's going to get you holds, but I've gotten a lot of people that got a 53 against it because Scav Rey comes out and just hits you, right at the start with this massive damage with her.
Flurry of blows.
Yeah, right. So she'll come out and hit you with this massive damage. Poe will go next and taunt. When Poe loses taunt, OG Finn gains taunt. And then when you finally go after Scav Rey, she has Foresight up, and Haldo gains taunt when somebody loses Foresight. So it's like these just triple tank, and it's hide the Scav Rey while she goes out and steals banners for you.
Interesting.
Now, obviously, this is susceptible to like troopers or faster teams, but it's a great way to use the characters that you had to gear up. And if somebody uses troopers there, you just kind of have to give it to them. Like, but it's worked. It's worked a lot for me. I put them in the top zone where people focus on the bottom zone that has the much more difficult teams, and then it's what do I have left team? And everybody beats it, but everybody gets some banners stolen. And
Yeah, and if they use troopers to beat that, you've already won. You've already
right,
won
exactly.
something.
Exactly. If you want to use troopers against my worst team, like, here you go. Have at it, you know?
All right. And then Resistance Pilot and Rose Tico, well, they're just kind
Rose
of out
gets
of
fed
luck.
to the yeah, Rose gets fed to the Crankor, and uh Resistance pilot. He has his ship is decent, so at least you'll use him there.
All right. Any closing thoughts on how to use this Resistance team or mod it, or any more advice that you'd give to me and my channel?
Yeah, I think this team is one. Read the kits. It sounds silly, of course. Read the kits, because they're complicated. But once you understand how to use the kit, they can do a whole lot. And 3v3, Rey BB-8 R2 beats that stupid CLS Chupio 3PO team almost every time, as long as they're not modded for crit avoidance, because obviously you need the crits because there's no damage. So you need the exposed train. But this team is a lot better than a lot of people want to give it time to be. Uh, it can beat gas. Don't count on it. It's really scary if you're not modded properly. It can beat Darth Revan. It can beat Padme. It beats so much, and people just stick it on defense and get 60s again. Their opponent gets 60s against them. So keep it for offense. Have a lot of fun with it, and yeah, that's every member of this team except for Rose has a decent use.
All right. So we'll just prioritize those Resistance heroes and get them going next, so we've got a functional team, and we'll keep building from there.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, hey, man, I really appreciate your time and taking the effort to explain all this stuff to me. So we'll keep it on offense, and we'll try to see what we can build.
Awesome. Glad to help.
All right. Thanks a lot. And everybody, remember, like, subscribe, do all that stuff we normally do. Join us over on Discord. All that stuff's in the video description below. And go check out Solo Base. He's got some pretty cool stuff out there. So see what he's got to offer. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next holocron.